piece and end with a kid's book. So hang on for the ride. I'm going to start out with a few poems published in literary magazines or anthologies, mostly online. The February Solitary Daisy Haiku Journal. No bike built for two, on the seat I'll be a solitary daisy. The March Blot magazine, edited by Finn Hall. You'll also need to know that Smudge is the name of his cat. The prompt was Bright Spot. Trump bumbles. We scowl. Smudge poses. Finn grins. Posts photo. We smile. Ah. April Sense and Sensibility Haiku Journal, edited by Patricia Carragon. The prompt was City Life. Vendor carts, hot dogs, pretzels, knishes, none gluten-free. The April Blotters Jotters 2 anthology, edited by Finn Hall. I have 2 haiku. Lineup of look-alike pigeons. How to ID the perp. Buildings reflected in windows, ponds, tourists' eyes, photographs. And the April Merilee Literature, I was pleased to be a featured poet in this issue. Finn Bill is the editor. The prompt is Weathering Storms, and I had 3 haiku. Motel Tub, My Shelter. TVs, Cyclone Updates. All Clear. 5 Dead. City Snow. Food delivery canceled. Sugar sandwiches. Called out from work. Snow, wind, cold forecast. Excuse, I'm under the weather. In the May Instant Noodles magazine, I had 2 haiku published. Publisher Diane Pierce. The prompt was transportation. Second grade, every morning, bus driver sings my name. She walks train, selling candy, child strapped on back. Wish I could babysit. The May Smalls magazine, which is a magazine of poems with 5 words or fewer. So this was my poem, Collecting Words I Cannot Say. The next few poems are based on the 3030 Facebook group prompts for April Poetry Month, starting out with the 4-word poem, Crying Over Spilled Blood. Waking whimpering, always something. We laughed, sure, but I couldn't take it. I know lonely best. Female ancestors' rage emerges from heirloom dresser, straight toward me. We kids, excited by surprise puppy, dog-eared memory. Nesting doll, wooden layers, mama, teen, inner child. And then I have just a few, recent poems. The first is a 5-word poem, Our Bombing, a World Away. Years after breakup, Memory Lane isn't on this map anymore. Goose by Urban Pond, we coo, grab phones, splash, no harm, no foul. Deep sea diver, high fives octopus, family reunion. I have a few selections from a chapbook that I put together in January to submit to a rattle contest. I didn't win, but now I have a chapbook, so maybe I'll do something else with it. Midtown traffic, Jam Master cab, awestruck backseat driver. Macy's perfumed air as I slip in sideways through the cracked open door. Wigs in window, apartment for rent, with or without wigs. After sleeping meds, counting and recounting sheep, aren't they tired yet? New York crowds, you'd think raindrops couldn't pass through the sea of umbrellas. Ate banana, not candy. Didn't lose 30 pounds? Diet plan sucks. holding her child like a ventriloquist. Some day it may mouth her words. What leads me to look into store windows as my belly bounces past? Nothing shows trust in your fellow humans more than a revolving door. I hate when women apologize for nothing. I do. I'm sorry. I'm getting verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. Topic: this haiku. Discuss. Mom's handwriting is precious artifact. Once able, she sat at table, writing letters, lists, bills. Walking the pond's edge, my favorite little bridge, peace descends. So now I'm going to segue into the flash fiction piece. It was published in the 2024 anthology What is in John's Basement, edited by Dane Ince, and What is in John's Basement is also the prompt. Mine was called Stormy Night. It was a dark and stormy night. The door to John's basement slowly creaked open. In the darkness, the sound of one heavy foot on the top stair, the second stair, the third, a pause, labored breathing. The steps resumed. Fourth stair, fifth, sixth, another pause, more heavy breathing. A hard rain beat against the windows. Thunder clapped, getting closer. Lightning briefly illuminated the room. A bulky figure continued slowly down the stairs. Seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. A pause, gasping for air. "Oh God," a woman's voice muttered. Another step, another. Then she screamed. The sound of something weighty falling, hitting a garbage can, the lid clanging as it rolled away. The thunder, the lightning. A fierce wind had kicked up, moaning in the basement. Or was that the woman moaning? "John!" the woman hollered hoarsely, then cleared her throat and tried again. "John!" Heavy breathing. A man's voice at the top of the stairs. "Mom?" He tried the switch. "Oh, the light doesn't work." She grunted. "I can't see a darn thing down here 'cept when there's lightning." "Why are you down there?" "Pickles. For the salad." A lightning flash briefly illuminated John's thin figure. At the bottom of the stairs, his mother embraced an overturned garbage can. "Oh my God, are you okay?" he asked. "I fell. I missed the last step or two." "Let me get a flashlight. Be right back." She sighed. Shortly a flashlight beam emanated from the top of the stairs and bounced with John's footfalls as he descended. "The lights are off upstairs now, too." "Oh no," she said. "The food will spoil if the electricity's off much longer." John knelt in front of her, the flashlight illuminating her figure. "We need to worry about you first. Do you hurt anywhere? Do you think anything's broken?" Thunder crackled. Lightning flashed. The rain sounded even harder. They heard a gurgle at the drain. John shone his flashlight over and saw water seeping in through the windows. "Mom, we've got to get you upstairs. Are you feeling well enough for that?" "Well, I don't want to drown, if it comes to that much water." "Hopefully there won't be more than usual. The sump pump ought to kick in soon. But here, let me try and help you up." He hung the flashlight from the ceiling first. He grunted as he tried to pull his mother into a seated position. "Oof! Can you put your arms around me?" "No," she said, on the verge of tears. "Well, I know how I can help you, Mom." He put on a rubber werewolf mask, then howled. "Ooh!" She sighed. "Not that again." "Well, I'm a wimp, Mom, I admit it. I need more strength to lift you up the stairs. And until we buy you a chairlift, this will have to do." "Ow!" "John, don't bite me, though. You know it really freaks me out when you do this." John popped his arms and legs out one by one as his werewolf form took shape. "Ugh! Ugh! Ugh! Ugh!" John reached down for his mother. She took his hands and stood. He grabbed the flashlight and put it in his teeth. Mom stayed close to John as they ascended the stairs, one of his arms around her, one hand holding hers. So that was a happy ending, I would say. This is a kid's book now. This was published by Merilee Literature Online a few years ago, Finn Bill editor. I'd like to oh, I guess I can't show a picture. I didn't get permission to do that. This is called The Boy Who Caught the Moon. The little boy caught the moon as it fell into his backyard. Mom, he yelled excitedly, tearing in the back door and letting the screen door slam. She wasn't in the living room, but he could hear the shower upstairs. He ran to the bathroom door. Mom, he shouted, the moon is in the backyard. We can talk when I get out, she called. Passing the hallway mirror, the boy saw his disappointed face and shoved his hand into his straight brown hair, then ran to the backyard. The moon was still there, in the middle of the yard. It was a little larger now, taller than him. He tentatively walked toward it and touched it again. It was dusty enough that when he ran around it, dragging his finger on it, it made a ring. The moon was so lightweight he could push it around the yard. He checked first to make sure it didn't leave any marks on the ground. His dad would have been mad. He remembered people talking about the man in the moon, but he didn't see a face. He went to his toys and chose 2 yellow plastic discs for the eyes, a green Lego rectangle for the nose, and 2 Lincoln logs for the mouth. He stood back to admire the results, then heard the screen door. Mom, look! His mother gasped and suddenly dropped to a seated position on the step. Her eyes were wide and she put a hand to her cheek. I caught the moon, the boy said a little less enthusiastically. The moon? His mother said shakily. How could it come from the sky? How did it get so small? It got bigger while I was in the house, the boy said uncertainly. His mother hurried back inside. The boy knew that when she was anxious, she would lie down on her bed until she felt calmer. The boy put his hands in his pockets and kicked the ground. The moon shone in the sunlight. What if it grew so big it broke their fence, or got as big as the whole town? What should he do? Who could he talk to? He already called his dad an awful lot, sometimes because his mom was upset, or because he'd gotten a bad grade at school. But he decided to phone his dad's office and quietly told his father that his mom was worried. He didn't tell him about the moon. His dad said he'd be home shortly. The boy sat on his front step. Catching the moon, he thought, was the most thrilling thing that had ever happened to him. He wanted to tell everyone, but he didn't feel like he should be excited since it had scared his mom. He looked next door as Miss Alice came out to get her mail. The boy had imagined telling her about the moon. He watched her move slowly down her driveway with her cane. Sometimes he walked beside her, but today he felt so weighed down he didn't even know if he could tell her hi. She opened the mailbox and put a few envelopes into her shoulder bag. The boy fidgeted, then went to join her. He put his hand around her arm and silently walked with her. When they got to her front door, she smiled at him and said, "You're a good boy and a good neighbor, and I appreciate you." He grinned and went back to his house. He sat on the front step again and looked across the street. Mr. Potts was trimming the grass around his trees. The boy had imagined telling Mr. Potts about the moon, too. Mr. Potts waved at him and he waved back. He jiggled his leg. Should he go talk to Mr. Potts? Should he check on his mom and the moon? He noticed Billy was next door drawing in chalk on the sidewalk. Billy had brown skin and black curly hair that stood out from his head. The boy went and crouched beside him. Billy's drawing was of a house with chickens in front. He was coloring the chickens yellow. "Billy," the boy said tentatively, the moon fell and I caught it in my backyard today." Billy sat up and looked at him. "Really?" "Yeah." The boy took a deep breath. "It scared Mom." "Oh," Billy nodded. "She scares easy." "Uh-huh," the boy said. "My dad is coming home soon to see about her." Billy nodded again. They looked up at the sound of a jump rope skipping down the sidewalk. "Hi," Jane said, stopping in front of them, her black hair in cornrows with colorful ribbons on the ends. She was a year older than the boy, whereas Billy was 2 years younger than him. "What are you The moon fell in his backyard," Billy interrupted, indicating the boy, "and he caught it." Jane regarded the boy. "Is this true?" The boy straightened and suddenly started talking and seemingly couldn't stop. I was in the backyard, and I looked up and the moon was falling, and I thought, I better catch it or it might get hurt. It was just kind of floating down and not coming very fast, so I caught it." He opened his arms wide to demonstrate. "Can we come see it?" Jane asked. "Okay." The boy took them around the side of the house and through the gate into the backyard. The moon was still there. Fortunately, it was about the same size as before. "It's so beautiful," said Jane. "Wow," said Billy. "Can I touch it?" "Sure," said the boy. Billy and Jane each put a hand on the moon and rubbed it. "Look here," the boy pointed at the moon. "You can see my footprints." "Here's the face you put on it," Billy exclaimed, running around the moon. Jane studied the face, the plastic disc eyes, Lego nose, and Lincoln log mouth. "You're sending plastics into outer space?" she asked. The boy was silent for a moment. "Well," he said slowly, "I hadn't thought about sending the moon back, but it seems to have caused trouble." The boy took the plastic pieces and Lincoln logs off the moon's face and drew eyes, nose, and mouth with a stick. "It would be weird to not have the moon in the sky anymore," Billy said. "But I haven't even gotten to play with it," he complained. "I wonder why it came down in the first place," Jane mused. "Maybe it was just coming for a visit," the boy said. "I don't know if the moon can decide that," said Jane. The boy heard his dad's car in the driveway. He felt relieved, but he also worried his dad might be upset by the moon the way his mom had been. The boy expected his dad would first go upstairs to see about his mom. He was surprised when his dad immediately came through the screen door. "What's the bright light?" his dad began, then saw the moon, which seemed to be vibrating. "The moon," his dad said, with wonder in his voice. The boy was amazed. His dad wasn't afraid, the way his friends hadn't been afraid. He choked on a sob and ran to his father's arms. His dad hugged him tightly, his chin resting on the boy's head. "Do you know, son," his father said, "that the moon has visited before?" The boy held his breath. Could this be true? But as his father spoke, the boy's feelings of admiration and joy and hope and love flooded him. "This is the anniversary," his father realized, checking the date on his watch. "It fell into the pasture on Gram and Gramps' farm 20 years ago, when I was your age." "Did anyone else see it?" the boy asked. "I don't think so," his dad said. "It fell behind a barn next to a shallow pond. Gram and Gramps were busy with other things, and I was mesmerized by it, so I just enjoyed it myself. I think the moon liked the cool water." "Does Mom know about that?" "I never did tell her," his father admitted. "But it was a very special occurrence." "It's exciting," the boy said, pushing his fist into the air and smiling in satisfaction. His dad chuckled and kissed the top of the boy's head. "Yes, it is," he agreed. The boy glanced up at the house and saw his mom at a lighted upstairs window. "There's Mom," he exclaimed and waved. "Hey," his dad said and beckoned to her. His mom came to the backyard, smiled at everyone, and was cheered by the festive atmosphere. The boy and his dad put their arms around her, and she hugged both of them to her. She approached the moon, the boy and his father at her side. Giggling, she drew a smiley face, and the others joined in her laughter and added their own faces. Shortly thereafter, his father and mother and the boy and Billy and Jane spread out around the moon. His father coached them as they crouched before it with their hands underneath. Then, just because it felt right and celebratory, they said together, "Moon, ascend." They urged it upward, the last touch of the moon on their hands. Thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it.
Marvelous, marvelous. Do you want to do one more as an encore?
Well, I could maybe read some of the poems that I left out because I was worried about timing. So, like another couple minutes or
Sure. Another couple
okay.
minutes. Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. So this is in the category the Facebook group prompts for April Poetry Month. Chicken breast is healthy, minus skin, breading, flavor, weight loss mantra. 40 lashes with a wet noodle. I'm safe. A watched pot never boils when the heat is off and the noodles are still in the box. Good reasons to exercise. Strong body and mind. Drop and give me 10. Feather falls from sky. I hold it above tribesmen, bravery blessing. This was done to the prompt drive-through. Sundays after church, family lunch at A&W, cars side by side, each with menu and radio. Car hop brings out tray. Teen burger, papa burger, mama burger, baby burger. Root beer floats with that wonderful singular root beer taste. Small town Iowa, circa 1970s. The prompt for this is illusion of memory. Could have sworn younger cousins vacated in Cancun as kids, that they maybe even sent a postcard from there. No, they said recently, it was Tijuana. Could have sworn Uncle had a toothache so bad, years ago, that the dentist came to the farm late at night. No, cousin said recently, they doubt it, but only their deceased mom would know for sure. Uncle's memory has mostly gone. Weird to believe something happened, then learn it may not be true. Of all of us, whose memory is correct? Another couple from the, should I keep going? Another couple from the Rattle Chapbook. Hearing no nay. Marbles in the schoolyard. Tiger Eye, Steely, Boulder. Long time passing. He shakes a cup for all it's worth. Sounds like change, but maybe it's breakfast. Nowhere man goes here, there, and everywhere. Something in the way he moves. Okay, that's all I have on my page, so I guess I'll end with that. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Merilee. Lovely, lovely set.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Your humor, your insight, your humanity, just absolutely wonderful. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Bravo, Merilee. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that with us.
Three. Okay, next up, we have Miss Rusty Rose. Rusty, could you come up here and read those wonderful lines of yours?
Yes, thank you, Merilee. That was fantastic. I love that very short piece about the mom, about the ventriloquist that the kid's gonna mimic her words. That was mind blowing. But I enjoyed every moment, every poem. That was wonderful. Okay, so let's see where I was last. I'm gonna rehash another poem. I think I read it here. It's for John McMullen, our bard who always occupied what I called box number one. So this is in memory of John. Zombie. Attending daily Zoom poetry sessions zombies me out. I get exhausted after 2 or 3. 4 or 5 is definitely not for me, but is quite contrary for fellow bard Johnny Mac. No matter the time of day or wee into the night, his tireless face, framed by wire rims and a shock of white hair, stares from Zoom box number one. I have to wonder, when does this guy eat? Does he sleep or even PEE? To illustrate, at 2 in the afternoon, when I zoom to Paris, Johnny Mac is already on the scene. It's 4 in Austin. There's Johnny. England at midnight. I guarantee he's even beat witches on their besom brooms. 1 in Hong Kong? No problem. Egypt at 2 a.m. I'm mummified. Want to rap soon. Not our Johnny Mac. 3 a.m. in Ireland. I'm running on empty. His high octane spirit has merrily